So what if I told you I found a company that is undervalued, profitable, pays a dividend, historically is increasing its dividend, and is moving into the biggest sector the world has ever seen, in fact, nay, the universe has ever seen? Of course, that company is Lockheed Martin. But is Lockheed Martin a good stock to invest in? Well, the only way to do that is to get onto Call of Duty, jump into a Lockheed Martin made Apache attack helicopter, and go onto the chat room forum and say, hey look, Lockheed Martin is getting an STI. So Lockheed Martin, is it a good stock to buy right now? I think so, and I'm going to tell you why in just a second. But before we get into that, can you please make sure you have hit that like button until it turns blue, subscribed if you haven't done so already, and turned on the bell. If you want to support the channel, there's a Patreon link down in the description where you can sign up and get some exclusive perks. If you're not from the US or Canada, you can check out the pinned comment, sign up with eTORO, deposit, make one simple trade, and get free lifetime access to the LWT investing chat room. Now, if you don't know what Lockheed Martin is, it's one of the biggest defense contractors in the world. In fact, they supply the Apache attack helicopter, Black Hawk helicopters, and many, many more. And in fact, they're moving into what I see as the biggest industry the universe has ever seen, and that is, of course, space. But let's come on to that in a little bit. Let's look more into Lockheed Martin's fundamentals. They're currently valued at around about 96 billion US dollars. Simply Wall Street has them at a plus 20% undervaluation, which means the company should be good value. They have a solid PE ratio of 14 and a PEG ratio of 3.2, which is definitely good in this current market. Going on to their assets and liabilities could be a little bit better. Their short-term assets are currently 20 billion in assets and 15 billion in liabilities. Going on to long-term, they actually have more liabilities than assets, with a 30.48 billion in assets and a 30.59 in liabilities. Slight deviation there, but I don't think it's a big issue. The bigger issue really is their debt to equity, which is a whopping 254%. That could come down to an asset they acquired recently, and I'll come onto that in a minute. They currently have a dividend of around 3%, and it's been increasing year on year. In fact, it's been increasing for decades, so they have been a solid payer of their dividend, even going back to the Great Recession of 2008, where they even continuously increased their dividend. So for sure, they are a solid dividend payer. Now, there was some selling back in February from their CFO and some other notable characters, but there hasn't been any buying in this current dip. So that's slightly concerning in my opinion. Pre-COVID, Lockheed Martin was at all-time highs of 440 US dollars. Then it fell a whopping 40% down to a 266 level, and now it's currently riding in the middle of that channel at around about 350 US dollars. Now, as mentioned, Lockheed Martin is the biggest in the space of defense when it comes to US government contracts. Their biggest competitor is Boeing, which really gets around about 2/3 of the contracts that Lockheed gets. And as we know, if you get government defense contracts from the US, it means you've got this continuous revenue. The US is the biggest defense contractor in the world and spends the biggest amount of money than any other country on defense. So I think Lockheed Martin for sure has its future secured there. And like I said, the company has actively been looking at growing its dividend, which is a massive, massive tick. Although the dividend could be a little bit higher, I think it will eventually get there. But given the fact that you're going to get in at a decent value, in my opinion, right now, I don't think that's a bad juggle either, because you can get the growth in the company that will naturally come when the world reopens, hopefully. Then you also get the benefit of that dividend while you're waiting. But that's not the great news. The great news, in fact, in my opinion, the best news that could ever happen, is Lockheed Martin has acquired a company. In fact, they acquired a company for 4.4 billion US dollars. What is that company, I hear you ask? Well, that company is Aerojet Rocketdyne. Now, if you don't know who they are a massive player in the rocketry field and space exploration. That's right, Lockheed Martin is looking at investing more and more into space. And the fact that they have bought this company outright is a good sign. And I think that's one of the reasons why they have a high debt to equity ratio right now. Now, recently they replaced their CEO with a guy called Jim Lacett. Now, I probably am pronouncing his family name wrong, so apologies in advance. Jim went on to say about this acquisition, acquiring Aerojet will bring propulsion systems for potential missile integration, with Lockheed-built missile systems and rocket offerings via satellite. So yeah, Lockheed Martin is actually going to expand in space. And like I said, that is the next big frontier, and I think there's a lot of room for growth over the long term. If you're just starting out investing, they're the areas you should be looking at. That's where the new Apples and Amazons are going to be. Now, we might not be there yet, you might be jumping on the bandwagon, but most space companies like Virgin Galactic, SRAC are not profitable. This one's profitable and will pay you a dividend, so it's a nice, safe and easy way of expanding your portfolio. So let's put it on paper. It's an undervalued company that's profitable, it pays a dividend, it's increasing its dividend, and it's moving into potentially the biggest sector the world has ever seen. Sign me up, right? But wait, last time I said sign me up, I ended up in Afghanistan and Iraq. Let me take that back. Now it's worth noting as well that Aerojet, now owned by Lockheed Martin, was actually profitable before the takeover. So these profits are actually going to be now drip feeding into Lockheed Martin. In fact, if you don't know who Aerojet are, they've actually just recently made the Orion module, which will help put people in space on exploration. In fact, it's now owned by NASA. And NASA said about Orion itself, it's made for human exploration and will take astronauts into deep space, Mars, and the moon. So are you as excited as I am? Because trust me, I'm damn excited. Now, do I hold any Lockheed Martin in my portfolio? Well, the only way to find out is by signing up to the chat room via the previous mentioned, or signing up on eTORO on the pinned comment. Because quite frankly, this isn't financial advice. This is just for educational purposes, and you should make your own decision. But am I in Lockheed Martin? You be the judge in the comments. As always, please do like this video, subscribe, turn on the bell. That's it from me. Take care. Peace.